Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the first Changing the World Now radio show with the Wonders. I'll be your host. My name is Jeff Scarrett. So, needless to say, we're here. We're ready to go. We recorded the session last week. And what I'd like to do with this show is keep things really open. You know, we're going to explore all kinds of directions with the Wonders. If you're listening to this on YouTube or anywhere on Facebook and you've got questions, by all means, send me an email. You can also go to the Choose Freely TV page on YouTube and send us a message there. We're going to do interviews. We're going to have personal stories. We're going to have personal experiences, all kinds of things on this show. So by all means, send me your questions, send me your input. I really appreciate it. And I guess the whole premise of this show, Changing the World Now, is to explore new concepts for the world, for humanity, for each other, for ourselves. There's really no limit to it. And, anyone out there who's spoken to the Wonders before, had a personal session or, attended a retreat or workshop, I mean, you guys know that the Wonders can go anywhere we go. As deep as we want to go is as deep as they'll go. So yeah, I'm excited and ready to have some fun, ready to talk to the Wonders. And what else did I want to say? Yes. Also, anyone out there interested in having a personal session or, going to a retreat or going to a workshop, by all means, check out thewonders.com. There's a library of over 2,000 recordings on every topic you could possibly imagine since, I don't even know when, the early 90s when Renee and Maggie started recording. There's AskSeeMaya.com. You can learn about a new healing technique that the Wonders have given. I myself have used that for a few years. And we'll have to do a whole show on that too, because there's lots to talk about there. So I guess on that note, we'll get right into the session, and hope everyone enjoys and tunes in. Hopefully in a couple of weeks, we'll have another show ready to go. And enjoy, folks.
Yes, we have this one.
Thank you. May we begin?
Please.
Okay, Jeff.
Greetings, Wonders.
Greetings, Jeff.
This is the first session for our radio show, and we're going to call it Changing the World Now.
Good for you.
And I guess we'd like to do a continuation from the last workshop that we did, and I know you covered a lot of stuff, so I guess the idea is not to regurgitate, but for the benefit of the listeners, with everything that's going on in the world right now, there seems to be so much control tightening and so much fear, and at the same time so many people looking for freedom and looking for self-empowerment. Maybe we could sort of start there, and is there any sort of guidance you could offer to start us off?
From the perspective of guidance, recognize this. As long as you're willing to simply give your power away to regardless of who it is, then, dear friends, you're definitely not empowering yourselves. If you say to someone, please tell me what to do, give me the how-to, show me what I'm supposed to do, show me what I can do, then what you're doing is you're saying to someone, hey, you take my power, and I'll be happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
To shift the world must begin to start by asking itself different questions. For a long time now, we've been saying to each and everyone who would listen, the question is what's important.
Mm-hmm.
If while you question is how to, what do I do, where do I go, what am I supposed to do, tell me, well then, dear friends, you are simply going further and further into that downward spiral of control.
Mm-hmm.
Because the more you give your power away, the more you're going to literally use control to hold on to the little bit of power that you think you have. Notice we said think you have, because it's all an illusion. At the moment you give away your power, you have no power. And you really have no control, but you'll try to use control to hold on to it. So you'll say to yourself in your life, tell me what to do, and then you'll try to control everything to get exactly what it is you want.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people do. Now, what if the question, instead of saying, tell me what to do, was more along the lines of, I would like to go and change the world so that it becomes more reflective of each individual and their appreciation of each other.
Mm-hmm.
I've chosen to do this, I've chosen to do that. Can that be expanded upon?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see the
Everyone's always looking for freedom as opposed to saying, well, what is freedom, and why am I not choosing my own freedom as opposed to asking somebody else to give it to me?
Exactly. Look at yourself and say, I choose to be free. I want to make my own decisions. In fact, I am making my own decisions. And this is what I've accomplished. Now, in making my own decisions, can I expand on that? You see? Now, all of a sudden, the question becomes a question of exploration, not a question of how to, does it? You're not looking to us or to anyone else to say, tell me what to do. You're looking to others to say, what else is there? Where can I go with this? What are my opportunities and choices and presentations? You see?
Yeah.
And then at the same time, hey, do I have any limitations here that are slowing me down, that are stopping this? If the world were to truly get together and ask itself, what is it that we, as a society, as a culture, as a race, if you want to call it that, the race called the human race now, not just the individual race of African race, Asian race, etc., but the human race. If we as humanity, what is it that we want? What is it that we are choosing? We are choosing right now to still focus on the differences rather than the commonalities. Is that really where we want to go? You look at your human race right now. You're still fighting yourselves based on all the perceived minute differences of one to the other. What if you switched it and started exploring the commonalities you have? You'd be surprised how much each and every one of you have in common. You think?
Yeah, I mean, everybody wants the same freedom deep down.
Well, mostly, yes. Some don't.
That's true.
Some really do not. But their souls do. Their essence does. Their personalities, their ego, of course not. And they will argue you on the basis of their personalities and egos. You see? So the question to ask yourselves as a human race is, what are the commonalities that we have? How can we expand on those? How can we, well, not so much how can we, but more, what choices can we move towards to bring about an expansion here? I'd like to do this. I'd like to bring all these people that are have a commonality together. Is it possible? The answer, of course, is always yes. Now, is it probable? The answer, of course, is always yes. So then what are you going to do about it? You see? Humanity is too, and has been for so long, too focused on all its differences that it really has not realized its commonalities. Do you see? You are all alike. There isn't one human in the planet that isn't alike to all the others, no matter the differences. Is it a point?
The main fear, of course, would that be just choosing itself? I mean, if we were to not look outside of ourselves for power, it's like, well, then you have to accept responsibility. You have to...
Of course. And that is the main fear. That's the ego personality. You've been brought up since childhood to give away your power. Your parent takes over, an adult takes over, someone in authority takes over, and you give your power away. You give it away from the time you're a child, an infant. After all, as an infant, most would argue that they don't have a whole lot of power. They're dependent on the mother to feed them, the parent to nurture them, to take care of them, to protect them, society to do the same. So there's a dependency. Well, okay. But at what point do you look at that and realize that it's not so much a dependency on society as much as a willingness by society to nurture, to care for, to protect the new members of its society? Do you see the difference? If you perceive yourself dependent on society, then you will always give your power away. But if you see society as a whole having chosen to nurture and take care of its new members, of its new additions, well then It's not that society is responsible. It is a choice, a mutual choice. You choose to incarnate into that society and belong, and society chooses to take care of those who incarnate. You see? And then it becomes a different thing. So the dependency then changes, the perspective of dependency changes, and then you foster then the empowerment, the self-empowerment. Now, until that shift occurs, yes, you're still going to be faced with dependency, and as members of your society, each individual will have to at some point recognize that by giving away the power through the concept of dependency, the concept of authority, then what they do is they truly disempower themselves, not accept that they have the ability to choose freely, and as a result of that, not accept that they are the power that allows society to exist. Without all the individual members of your society saying, this is a society we belong to, the society would not exist. You see?
Yeah, it's true.
So the power rests with the individual, not with governments, not with race, not with religion, not with culture, with the individual.
And would you agree that this is happening slowly on a small scale now as like more social media, more people become aware of each other, the more religion, governments, et cetera, are starting to clamp down to stop that from happening?
Yes, in certain parts of the world that is occurring. But again, don't misunderstand the need for the individual to assert themselves with the choosing to empower themselves. Many individuals perceive themselves in a society that is dogmatic, that is reductive, and they want to assert themselves within that society. They want to say, I am important. Do you see? What they want is they want recognition. And so they rebel against societies, cultures, countries, governments that don't recognize them as members of the individual members of that society. But that doesn't mean they empower themselves.
Yeah.
That just means that they're looking to assert themselves. Now that is a step towards empowerment, a very small, minute step, but it's still a step. But there's a long way to go between that and saying, I am the power, and you exist because I choose to allow it. Is it?
Yeah, it's almost as if now the idea of empowerment to a lot of people is kind of a stand up and go out and achieve and accomplish and do all these amazing things, as opposed to more of a passive, just sort of owning yourself. And
yes. And again, as you say, it's an active, outward expression to achieve recognition. Really what they're looking to achieve is recognition. They're not really looking to empower themselves. An individual is empowered doesn't need recognition.
No, it's true.
Doesn't need to be recognized. An individual who's empowered simply is. You see? And all those around them know it. But those who require recognition, who push for recognition, who demand recognition, and we assure you, most members of your culture and your race and your societies do so, well then they're individuals who really truly see themselves disempowered and want to, as a result of this, haven't quite figured out that the difference between recognition and empowerment. So they perceive recognition as being the antithesis of disempowerment, when in actual fact it's just that which fuels disempowerment. Do you see?
Fascinating.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. And then, of course, religion. How do you see, say, within, let's take 100 years from now, how do you see religion playing into this idea of empowerment as it starts to circulate around the world?
Again, religion is very much a structure that is by its very nature disempowering. Now, that's not to say that there isn't a value and a benefit to religion in society. Religion can, if it chooses to reevaluate itself, can become the spiritual nurturer of the members of society.
Yeah.
But religion has taken on the role of society. They've taken on the dictum long past spirituality and are dictating behavior, choices to society. And the resultant of that is, of course, they're on a collision course between religion and society. And it has been going on for hundreds of years. And it'll continue to go on.
Morality is becoming so intertwined into the structure of everything. And
well, yes. You take a look at your fundamentalists, left and rights. They're all using religion from one perspective or another as the basis of their fundamentalism. And so the resultant is that's infusing itself into the what you would call, quote, the state, unquote. And the separation between state and religion is becoming more and more fuzzy. You see? And, of course, this is the long-term, call it, program of religion. The long-term basis that religion wanted. Religion never wanted to give up its power over state. And when state started to assert itself and separate itself from religion, religion came, and we're saying religion on the basis of the organizations of religion, not specifically the religion, following the faith of religion. You see? But we're talking about the organization of it, the man-made organization of it. That part started to assert itself in an attempt to, over a long period of time, reestablish itself as the dominant force in the society, and to dictate to state how it would behave, how it would choose. And you must understand here that that aspect of religion is run by men and women who really, truly have their own ego agendas. So it's not the religion on the basis of faith in the sense that faith believes in survival, believes in the spirituality. It is that the religion of the men and women has tried to assert itself and infuse itself into the state function, and as a result of that, created limits and boundaries that are affecting the empowerment of the individual. We've said a long time ago that religion is not within spirituality, but spirituality is within religion. Now, if religion were to truly become an expression of spirituality, then you would find there would be no separations between one spirituality or another. There would be no sense of faith. It would all be spirituality. Do you see?
Yeah.
And this session must end, dear friend.
Okay. Thank you very much.
We do thank you. To you, the appreciation of all.
The appreciation of all wonders.
Wonders, may we move to end this session?
Please.
Please perform all healings that are chosen.
Done.
Please relax the body to its natural state now.
And to you all, the appreciation of all.
The appreciation of all wonders. I would like Renee to awake feeling completely loved now.
Came out of that session, it was kind of interesting because I saw how if at one point all of the separations, the divisions, that which divides us, and all the little things that we see between each other as being different, if we stop looking at our differences and start looking at all our commonalities, everything in society would shift. Governments would change, religions would change, faith would change, everything would change, and we would end up being not a homogeneous, common, same personality individuals, but really we would be a one consciousness, one group consciousness, if you want to call it that, and we would become more focused on helping each other and achieving the greater goals rather than looking at ourselves and achieving our singular goals. That's it. That's what I got.
Thank you.